friends, and welcome back to my channel, Time with Lauren. I'm so happy to have you here. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do so. It helps me out so much as I'm growing my channel here. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Let's get started. So on this night, we just had a simple meatloaf, and I served that with some sauerkraut on the side for digestion and just good minerals and micronutrients. Just some mashed potatoes here and some roasted broccoli, and that was dinner on this night. It was delicious, everyone loved it, and we had a little bit of leftovers the next day. All right, so for this dinner, I had bought some ricotta, and I bought a huge container of it because I wanted to make lasagna, and I wasn't feeling any sort of like dinner meal, so I made a big sourdough Dutch baby, and I whipped some ricotta with lemon zest and lemon juice and vanilla and just a splash of heavy cream, and then just macerated some berries, fresh berries on the side here, put a little bit of sugar and lemon juice over them, and then I created a little bit of syrup, and so this is what we had for dinner on this night. It was super delicious and everyone loved it. It was a nice change up from the traditional dinner meals. That's so nice to do sometimes, and we do it often. And alrighty, on to the next night. This night was just some rice cooked in bone broth for extra nutrition and some lentils with garlic on the side here. And then I have this grill in my oven here in the center, and I don't like it. I don't use it very often, but every now and then I do, and I usually regret it. But I did grill the chicken indoors on this night, made some homemade sourdough pita bread, and this was just a super fresh and light, yummy meal. I used some fresh cucumbers and tomatoes from the garden and a few herbs that I had picked, and just served that with some homemade tzatziki sauce that I used with the fresh cucumbers as well, and then avocado on the side as well, and some sauerkraut. Everybody just had their plates portioned up and could choose to make it into a pocket like this or eat it separately, and everybody really enjoys this kind of meal because you can customize it, but I know everybody's getting good nutrition because of all the different types of things that I offer. So this was such a yummy meal, and we did have leftovers for the next day's lunches. Alrighty, and on to the next night. So I am just seasoning up some shrimp here with my favorite Azure barbecue seasoning. This seasoning has such a great flavor, and it's not super salty, so you can use a heavier hand on the seasoning and know you're not going to get too salty of a flavor on your end product. I'm just sauteing up here a whole head of cabbage, and then I just have some ribeyes and some fillets. The kids are going to eat steak as well. They love steak, and so while it is expensive, we do have, a decent amount, but from our half a steer, so they enjoy that, and we all had this on this night, and it was delicious. I'm just seasoning up these fillets, and then I also placed some potatoes in the oven and baked them whole, and then once they were all the way baked, then I sliced them in half and put butter and cheese on top, and then I turned the oven off and just put them back in the oven. That way the cheese and butter could melt. All right, we are huge fans of grilling, and we love to grill year-round, not just in the summer. I know most people like to grill in the summer, but we grill even in the dead of winter. So I am just cooking up dinner here on the grill, and everything turned out delicious. We also had a little bit of leftovers from this meal that we were able to have for lunches on the next day. So everybody really enjoyed this. And this is what it looked like on our plates. The baby got some frozen cherries, and he also got some steak as well, but I just cut his on my plate, steak and shrimp, and that way it's really small and he can chew it and not worry about choking. We had our sauteed cabbage here and onions, and then that was dinner. So this next night is, we have every Friday night is pizza popcorn movie night in our house, and sometimes it's regular pizza, sometimes it is like pizza pockets like we are making here. So you can see I just roll out the dough into a circle and add the fillings, whatever each person wanted, and then I just kind of crimp the edges here and fold them up, and then I just put it on the baking sheet and bake them. And each person and child gets their own, and then we usually have leftovers for lunch the next day or the next day, just depends on what we're doing and what we want to eat. So these are delicious, and I love making these. They're a little bit, I feel like, less messy than pizza. I don't know, just because it's a pocket and it's easier for the kids to hold. So also on this night, I am making a dessert pizza, and I will show you here in a moment, but I'm just giving you another look at how I do these pizza pockets. I think maybe these are actually called like calzone or stromboli. I'm not actually sure of the correct terminology, but we just call them pizza pockets, and they're delicious. So here I'm just showing you again. I just roll it out into as best of a circle as I can get, and then I just add the fillings into the center, offset of the center, because you're going to fold the side over. So super easy, and everybody can still customize what they want in their own pizza pocket. And like I said, they bake up super easily. We really enjoy these. If you've never made these before, then I would probably recommend first off like rolling it out onto a piece of parchment, and that way you can transfer it a little easier to your baking sheet. It can sometimes want to have a tendency to tear, but I just oil my cutting board here, and then I make sure I oil my hands, and just I'm really gentle with it. Whenever I lift it, I kind of like scoop, and like you can see I scoop and lift with my hands. Anyways, but we really love this, and that is dinner. These are just going to go into a 425-degree oven, I think. All right, but now we're going to do the super fun part of tonight's dinner. We don't always have a dessert pizza, but I have a lot of jars of apple pie filling I've needed to use up. So I also had an extra pie crust or pizza dough on this night. And so I decided to make a pizza. And if you've ever been to Cece's Pizza back in the day, that was like my jam as a kid in the 90s. And, you know, they have the dessert pizza. It was delicious. So this is my take on the dessert pizza. Let me tell you, this was 12 out of 10. This is far better than what you'll get at the stores. So next time you guys have pizza night, just go ahead and get an extra pizza dough and make your family a dessert pizza. I'm just taking some apple pie filling here. You can use home canned or store-bought. You're just going to want to press your pizza dough into your greased cast iron pan or whatever pizza pan you like, and then just kind of smush it around, leaving a crust around the edges and making sure your pie filling is all evenly distributed. Then you're just going to take some crumble that is equal parts melted butter, flour, and sugar. Just crumble that all over the top. This is going to brown and turn that crumble topping that you get like also on muffins or like a crumble shortbread bar. This is so delicious, and I definitely need to make this again because I don't make it that often, but man, it was so good. Everybody just loved it, and the kids just couldn't stop talking about it. And just hearing them talk about it like that really just helped me realize, like, it's not the big things that you do for your kids all the time. Like, I know we really focus, a lot of people can put a lot of time and energy into, you know, making sure you're doing all the big things, but honestly, it's the little things that kids remember. And even myself, like, I remember the little things, and just having this dessert pizza on pizza movie night was so special for them, and I'm totally doing it again this Friday night. So this is what they looked like when they came out of the oven, and I don't let my dessert pizza get too brown just because we like it a little on the softer side. We don't want the crust like super crunchy on the bottom, but if you do, then totally bake yours a little bit longer. You can see here it lifts right out, no sticking, but that's because I have a beautifully seasoned cast iron pan, and hopefully a video coming on that coming soon for you guys, because I want to show you how I do my pans and how I get them to be nonstick. So just topping this off with a little bit of like a vanilla powdered sugar and water, just a super simple glaze. And again, wow, this was so delicious, you guys. Like, I can't wait till the next pizza movie night. So this is how I serve it up to my kids, and they do get a smaller portion of a main course on pizza night, usually, just because I know they're going to be having popcorn and a dessert as well. To the next night. This night we are making homemade lasagna. I had a craving I just couldn't get past, so I set out to make homemade pasta, and I have this super nice pasta machine here that I just got last year. I used to make it by hand, and I just would use it for, like, you know, as flat as I could get it with a rolling pin, and I would make like just regular rough cut, like rustic noodles, just cut them however I could. But this pasta roller really does make a difference, and it's super easy to use. You just take this little crank here and put it in whichever portion. You roll it out in the flat piece up there in the front, and then it cuts it into either a linguine, maybe, oh no, fettuccine, I think is like the wider cut you can see here at the top of the screen, and then also a spaghetti cut, and those are your two options, and that just works perfect for us. We don't eat pasta very often, but I do like making it homemade, and I can link this in the description. I really love it. Like I said, I just got it last year, but it does make pasta making much easier. So you can see I just had 2 portions here that I made into single serve. I had a big pan that I put in the freezer, and then the big pan that was glass served us for a few nights of, or a one night of dinner and a few leftovers, and it was super delicious. All right, and tonight's dinner was super simple, just some grilled chicken that I threw on the outside grill with our favorite Azure barbecue seasoning, and I just ground up some corn to make cornbread and black-eyed peas in the Instapot from my dried beans, and this is a typical summer meal for us. All right, and tonight's dinner is super easy. It's a church night, so we are getting ready to go. We're making some muffins to have for breakfast tomorrow because we have our Azure pickup bright and early. So my favorite barbecue seasoning from Azure Standard and my favorite piece of salmon from Costco. We're going to serve this with some jasmine rice and leftover veggies from last night. All right, so dinner's ready tonight. We have some jasmine rice, our favorite Azure barbecue seasoning on our favorite salmon from Costco. We have some canned pears, home canned pears from our pear tree, and some sauerkraut. And you know, mommy has her kimchi. Whoever wants this can have this. And we do have some mixed vegetables that are already on the table. So that is dinner on this night. We are going to be running off to church, and we have this ready for the morning to go bright and early to pick up our Azure order. All right, tonight's dinner is homemade beef and cheese enchiladas. Just took these out of the oven. They are going to rest for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then we will get plates going. So tonight is super simple. We have some onions for whoever wants to top their enchiladas. Everybody got some avocado, and the baby got some blueberries, avocado, and then he will just get some like meat and cheese and tortilla all. I will let it cool and then tear it up and put it here, and then he will feed himself that. So that is dinner for tonight.